So we're at the Japanese tea gardens in San Antonio, and Jen and the kids got to come see this during the week when it was a little less crowded.
Way less crowded.
But they loved it so much they wanted to bring me back to capture some good video and to check it out. So it's really cool. It's very peaceful in there, even with a lot of people around. It's very peaceful, and there's koi ponds, as you'll see. Just a nice place to walk around.
It is, and I think it was very meditative when we were here during the week, and quiet, and people were in their little nooks and crannies of the little park. And then today, it's really crowded. So my suggestion would be to come during the week if you can. Don't miss it if you have to come on the weekend, but definitely if you can choose to come during the week, it's a little bit more mindful experience.
Find some time during the week. And actually, with the San Antonio River Walk, we did those both at night and during the day. And as much fun as it is during the day, it was gorgeous at night to go out and see the lights all dripping, hanging from the trees. And just to walk under there at night was awesome, but we couldn't get good video in the dark. Yeah, so we went back today on Saturday just to get video of it so you can see it, but it's all daytime video. But definitely if you come here, make sure you get down there at night. It's well worth it.
At both times. Yeah. I think it's really pretty cool during the day too. There's a lot of different colors and
there's a lot of
to see vendors.
Yeah, we didn't expect the vendors to be, but they're lined along the pathway now, which they're not at night, so that was definitely a different experience. So San Antonio has been really cool. Nice surprise for sure.
It, yeah.
We just got done with the Alamo. Alamo, as I was saying, I was really surprised. It's funny, you come on these trips and you see things for real compared to how you imagine them. And I had always imagined the Alamo being in some remote part, corner of San Antonio outside the city limits. And it's actually right downtown. I mean, the city was built around it. So yeah, you kind of imagine these places one way, and then you get to them and they're completely different. So that's what's cool about this journey, is we can take our imagination and turn it into reality and realize that it's totally different.
Yeah, and I think I even told our son, who is studying U.S. history for 9th grade this year, that lots of kids get to read about the Alamo in a book and not as many get to go. So it's really the process of bringing history to life.
Yeah. And if you see the line to go inside the shrine when you get there and the line's long, don't be afraid. Stand in the line. It moves quickly. People go in through the shrine and then in through the gardens on the inside of the walls of the Alamo. So don't skip that just because you see a long line. I think it crossed my mind to skip it, but we didn't, luckily.
We can't do it. That's what we're here to do, is
definitely
see
worth
stuff.
it. Yeah. So, all right, let's go see some caverns.
Yes.
Some of the largest formations inside the cavern. Now, if you look over here on the far left side of the room, you'll see the largest column inside of the cave. This is called the watchtower. The watchtower is 50 feet tall and 8 feet in diameter, so 8 feet wide. Then if you look right here, inside in the middle, you'll see the mouth of the landlord. The mouth of the landlord is the largest stalagmite here inside of the cavern. The mouth of the landlord gets its name mainly from these little holes there inside of it. Those little holes are what are known as those look a little bit like apartment windows, and the formation up here at the top looks a little bit like a landlord waiting to collect his rent. Then if you look over here to the right on the mouth of the landlord, you'll see the king's throne. Now the king's throne throne gets its name mainly because it looks a little bit like a throne, with the pedestal there at the bottom, the two armrests on the side, and on the kingly cave curtain up there at the top. Now if you look to the right of the king's throne, you look up at the ceiling and see our cave chandelier. Now that cave chandelier is formed from a bunch of cave curtain that has formed together over the years, and it creates a chandelier-like form. Check out our observation deck right over there.
So while we were in San Antonio, we ran over to the San Jose mission south of town. And what a gorgeous place, really. We enjoyed immensely taking pictures here and kind of wandering the grounds. They were outposts set up in the region of San Antonio through the 17th and 19th centuries for the Catholic orders to spread Christianity through the native population of Texas. Well, which was Texas later.
Yeah, right. They were beautiful. I mean, it was very peaceful walking around the grounds. When we were there were very few people walking around, so we just about had the whole place to ourselves to take time and take photos and video. The sun was setting while we were there, and it just made a perfect backdrop for visiting.
I loved it here.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
It was cool.
And then on that same day, we took a tour of the Toyota manufacturing plant. Jen found this listed as one of the things you can do, and you have to get on the calendar, on the tour schedule for it ahead of time, at least a week beforehand. But we called with just a few days' notice, and they got us in, which was nice. But I was really excited to do this tour. It was so fun. Our only complaint was that it wasn't long enough. So you drive out into kind of the middle of nowhere. It's South San Antonio, even on the outskirts of the town, and you get to the visitor center, and they give you time in the visitor center to visit and check out some of the displays and how things work in the plant, and then they get you together, and you all drive out in your own vehicles to the actual plant. And unfortunately, one of the things you can't do on the tour is take photos or video once inside the factory. But we got to see a ton of Toyota Tacomas and Tundras being built. In fact, this is the only place in the world that builds the Tundra, which really shocked me. As many Tundras as I see out there, they're all coming from this plant. The Tacoma is actually built here and in Baja, Mexico. but they sell better and there's more of them, so I can understand why. But I think the craziest thing about the Toyota plant tour was how many trucks were going by and how close they were together on these conveyor belts, and they were just building them all day long, just going, and there were just no gaps between these things. I can't believe they're turning this many out and selling this many at the same time.
I think I too was shocked at how fast the tour is. I'm surprised the trams don't have seatbelts. I'm just kidding. But it was so fast, there was like breeze in our hair as they drive you around the whole plant. I could barely keep up because I'm not as familiar, obviously, with trucks as Travis. They could be explaining something. I'd already missed it because I was like, wait, what are they talking about? It's a speedy tour, and they just get on to the next one once you're done. But it was really fun to see the inside of a actual working car factory.
We got breakfast.
Nom, 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 nom.
And last but not least, we've stayed at a few KOAs on this journey, and a lot of them have these little cars, these little pedal cars that you can rent, and we had yet to take advantage of those pedal cars. So we decided to, on Sunday, before we left to head south to the Gulf, we decided to rent some of these cars. We had a blast on them. They were the kids were loving them. We were all giggling and laughing, and it was fun to film the whole thing. So we got our little pedal cars in before we left San Antonio. Hey guys, here's a little RV water pump hack I came up with the other day, and I finally implemented it. When we're on our pump and not on city water, I hate how loud these diaphragm pumps are. They're mounted right to the floorboard, at least in my unit, and it just reverberates throughout the RV and even outside. So I thought of coming up with some rubber feet to put underneath the pump to further isolate it from the floor. The pumps are built with rubber isolating feet on them, and that's how they're mounted, but I don't think it's enough. So our pump has always been annoying and loud, and I wanted to fix that. So let me show you what I did. Okay, so the first thing I did is I unscrewed the pump itself from the floor. It's held on by 4 screws, and like I said, bolted right to the floor on its own little feet, which is these top guys right here, just this top half. And so what I did is I went and bought these rubber stoppers. These are 1-inch rubber stoppers that you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's in their specialty cabinet, in their hardware cabinet. And so I popped a little hole in each one. I put them under the pump itself and then screwed it back to the floor like that and gave it that extra inch of rubber buffer between it and the floor. The one thing you want to watch though is your pipes coming off of the pump, like back here. Mine were resting on that cutout piece of cabinet to give them support. And by lifting it up 1 inch from the floor, I left these pipes suspended. So I didn't want to leave that because those would easily just fatigue and bust through while traveling down the road and bouncing. So what I did is I took a wadded up piece of cardboard, it's rolled up, and then screwed into that existing piece of cabinet so that the pipes have something to rest on and support them. A piece of wood probably would be better, but I didn't have that, so I think the cardboard will be just fine. So anyway, this has made a huge difference in the noise that this pump puts out. And you can really not hear it on the outside like you used to, and even inside it's definitely quieter. So I think that'll be a good change to the way the factory set it up. And here's the part that I got. I went to Home Depot and got it. So you just buy yourself 4 of these, and you need some longer screws because the screws you take out from the mount are about that long, so they're not gonna work. Make sure you get a screw that isn't any more than I think 2 inches, because you don't want to have a really long screw go down and puncture your water tank, because a lot of times your water tank is under this same spot. So make sure you don't get too long of a screw and go too far. By the way, while we're in here looking at the pump, I wanted to let you know, if you have this kind of pump set up, for me I had to take a panel off of the front of my sink. Show you my sink. I have to take a panel off with 2 screws, but if you're in here and looking for your siphon hose, this is to sanitize your fresh water tank. This is where it is. See, it's hooked up and it's a loose hose on this pump, and this is the valve that operates it. So basically that valve is closed right now, but if I had the pump on and I turned that valve 90 degrees, then it would be sucking out of here and not out of my water tank. So what it does is it pulls the sanitizing solution into the water tank. So that's how you get your water tank sanitized if you're trying to do that. So I thought that was a worthwhile thing to show you while I had this cracked open. So that's it. Hopefully that'll quiet things down for us and we won't hate using our diaphragm pump as much as we used to. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you leave a comment below if you like this video.